What's up, everybody? It's your boy Grim here, and yes, everybody, there was this video I found that I wanted to kind of watch about the most famous Runescape player of all time, so let's go ahead and play it. Yes, everybody, we are going to be talking about Zezima. Okay, so far it looks like it's just an intro. It's kind of nostalgia, not gonna lie. There's so many people there around where
there have been a decent amount of RuneScape players in the past that have reached the coveted #1 overall high score spot. Lei, L33, Suomi, Lynx Titan, TKS, and Yogo-san to name a few. However, out of all of them, one name stands above the rest, Zezima. But why is that? Well, Zezima was the #1 player for big parts of the years 2004 to 2007.
I just want to comment on this part. 2004 to 2007 was a huge part of the game when I played it, by the way.
2004 to 2007 are widely considered the best years of RuneScape, with some claiming those years to be the peak of RuneScape or its golden years. Therefore, I think people associate Zezima with those times to a certain degree. His popularity was so big, he even had multiple music videos made about him.
Zezima.
I remember when this actually came out, it was quite an interesting time to be alive. Got the head biggin.
Zezima, I'm your biggest fan. I know all about you, but you know who I am. Name's Bob, but you can call me Jim, or Mike, or John, or Big.
One thing I kind of want to discuss as well, when you played RuneScape back then, since we were mainly like 12 and 13-year-olds who actually played RuneScape, I gotta say, like, I remember like I was always searching for Zezima and trying to like see what he was up to and whatnot. It was a pretty big deal.
Wait, you don't talk to me. You know I love you, so what could it be? So add me. You know the name. It's the new show and that's the game. Zezima.
Very lucky, got a cake with glow, a ton of good friends.
Alright, we're just still talking about
I remember back
we're still talking about songs.
I was new to this game, and I saw the best one in the world, and I followed him. Hey Zezima, hey Zezima.
In addition, most of the player base was very young around these years, and to them, seeing Zezima,
As you can tell, he didn't mention the player base was very young, hence why I was like 11 or 12 at the time.
was like seeing a unicorn. When people saw him log in, they would spam their friends list with "Zezima is on World X" and then go try to find him.
This clip has nostalgia written all over it.
This spread his popularity even more via word of mouth to young, impressionable players, increasing the Zezima hype. This isn't a knock on the other #1 overall holders, but you don't see, for example, hey, Lynx Titan logged in on X World, let's go find him and talk to him. At least not to the same degree, probably due to the player base being a bit older when he was #1. Another factor was the mysterious
Now that the player base has kind of turned to the older generation, it's like we don't really have time to go mess around with Zezima like we did back in the day.
nature of Zezima. For starters, there was a good deal of speculation on how he attained the #1 spot and maintained it for big periods of time, with pretty crazy stories and rumors surrounding account sharing, rotating shifts on the account, and much more. Employees of Jagex have gone on the record and stated despite investigations, none of these account sharing rumors were true. Regardless, people still speculated. On top of this,
I can't even fathom about playing RuneScape 16 hours a day. That's just absurd. Is that my dream job? Yes, but even still, like, that's insane.
To add to the mystery, Zezima has never officially revealed his face, even purposefully avoiding doing so in the RuneScape 15-year documentary. I can't say I blame him in the slightest.
Ranked players attained a degree of celebrity within the community. People wanted to be them. They wanted their rank, their high scores.
I remember like looking up to Zezima as a valuable player and wishing that I was like on the top spot, even though I was just immediately like level 30 to 60 combat back in the day.
They definitely wanted the wealth in their banks. But one stood head and shoulders above the rest. Every player had heard of him. Every player knew his name. That name was Zezima.
If you've played RuneScape at any point in your career, you probably know of Zezima.
When I first started in the company, we used to get a lot of questions from the players about things to do with the game. And I was given a list of players that I could log in to the game and ask them those questions. Because even in those early days, we knew the players knew more about the game than we did. And one of those names was Zezima.
Zezima is the most famous player.
He is just an absolute legend. He did everything when it was hard to do. He achieved the unthinkable.
Zezima.
There's one thing I kind of want to point out when Zezima was going for all these rank ones. Back then, we didn't really have all these YouTube guides. We didn't really have the wiki. We didn't really know what we were doing. We were just kids, and that's what made RuneScape so fun and adventurous.
He's legends. Everyone knows Zezima, man.
Back when he was on the top of the high schools, there was all sorts of accusations that he was maybe character sharing.
I remember this one rumor where he was on 8 rotations of 8 different girls, and it was this absurd, guys. It really was.
We certainly investigated it and found no sort of evidence pointing to that.
My name is Zezima, and I've been playing since 2001. I've had continuous membership on RuneScape since 2003, so I've been around a long time.
2003 is kind of where I started as well, but man, guys, 20 to 15 years is an absurd amount of time.
Kind of interesting to be seen as such a legend by so many people. That's really the only way I can describe it. I first discovered RuneScape because I was playing a different game, which was the Final Fantasy card game online, and
I just want to clarify something here. Imagine if Zezima never played the fantasy card game online. He may have never ran into RuneScape.
Someone I played that game with told me he knew a game I would never be any good at, so he showed me RuneScape, and that's how I started playing. When I first got number 1, it was pretty exciting. It was interesting. I wasn't exactly aiming for it. I was just going for maxing out, but it was nice when it happened. I was putting in a lot of hours, more than 10 hours.
Once again, I cannot fathom 60 hours a day. That is absurd amount of time.
Hours a day for 5-6 years straight. It's a matter of just feeling the need to complete it.
Granted, I know Zezima was younger back then, but how do you not have a job? Maybe he was at a time of a place where he didn't need to worry about having a job because he was younger, but who knows?
Being so well known on RuneScape has made it a lot easier to tolerate comments from people. Negative comments don't affect me in the game or outside the game at all.
Also, how many times do you run into negative comments outside the game? That's just kind of interesting.
So it's helped me just manage emotions pretty well, a lot better than I would be able to otherwise. I've heard a lot of things about myself that I never knew were true. I found out that I'm a girl from Australia. I never knew that. I've never been to Australia. And apparently I'm also 7 80-year-old Chinese women rotating one day of the week each, playing on my account.
Also, imagine if you were the number 1 player of RuneScape and then you have all these people asking for money. It's come on, people.
Throughout my research, I also found out that he has never officially shown his RuneScape bank, with Zezima even trolling a bank reveal in the old days on his YouTube channel Zezima0213. Can't say I blame him for not showing it, as his account already gets locked due to individuals trying to brute force into it.
I know, that would have been insane to see a bank reveal, especially back in 2007 chat. And that's just crazy to me.
This would be worsened if there was known in-game wealth on it. For more proof of people being overly fascinated with his account and getting into it, just search Zezima password on YouTube to get an idea. You'll see a carousel of dingleberries claiming they are on his account or know the password. I don't know. He has a Twitch channel as well, although it's fairly inactive today, but there was no face reveal there either. There have been many speculative pictures floating around of what people...
It's kind of shameful to Zezima. I get it, Zezima doesn't want to play RuneScape anymore, and he just has almost 50k on his Twitch, probably more even now. It's dude, you have this following and you should monetize it. Like, if I could monetize my RuneScape, then I would totally would.
Think he looks like over the years, but none have been proven. People love a good mystery, so this also increased his popularity, at least in my opinion. Last but not least, his achievements. Some of his...
Also, I agree with what the RuneScape historian said about increasing his population, about keeping his secrets unrevealed.
His achievements, not all, include the first player to 99 Slayer, first to 1 billion XP, first to totals 1980 and 2079, which are big because they were the max total.
I'm just saying, that's a lot of firsts. That's like 4 first totals, guys. That's insane. Like, Zezima was playing non-stop
at their respective times, reaching the top rank in October of 2003 for the first time, then holding it for good portions of 2004 through 2007. He also had high ranking in Jagex's now defunct FunOrb website, with at one point being the top player in orb points, reaching top 100 in all skills across the board for a time. He also was one of the very first
I miss those days back when you could play orbs and stuff like that.
Players that could smith rune early into the game. His reach broke beyond RuneScape in 2007 when Cartoon Network featured him on...
You know what's kind of funny? I remember when this poll came out and I was like flabbergasted that Zezima was on rank 1 because on how popular RuneScape was back
Cartoon
then.
Network's New Generations
cool.
in a list of role models for kids. I'm listing off all these points to illustrate just how big and popular Zezima was, and probably still is. He probably still gets mobbed in-game on old school when he plays. He was the Pied Piper of noobs. Everywhere you would see Zezima, you would see a trail of players spamming him. Even at his in-game wedding, where he and his virtual bride exchanged Dragonstone rings, there were plenty of players present. Basically, anything Zezima did in-game was typically recorded, and he almost always had an audience, whether he wanted it or not. Zezima only...
That sucks coming with fame, like, even if you're trying to do something in-game. I know back then, when there was a lot of people around, the world would kind of get clogged up and it would be hard to move, but nowadays it wouldn't have that much the same effect, but still it's kind of sucks having everybody follow you.
Really started to fall off in terms of high scores in 2008 with the summoning release. Zezima stated on his YouTube channel around this time that he was dealing with things in real life and also stopped playing as much due to the game becoming easier, which devalued player achievements. This caused him to lose his competitive edge for a time. However, his popularity remains intact even to this day. Almost 3 years after the skill release on December 25th of 2010, Zezima would get 99 summoning. Continuing on, in August of 2013, he was the 18th player to achieve 99 divination. This was a new skill at the time, showing that...
Also, this is why I hate RuneScape 3, because all these skills don't make sense to me, like divination.
Zezima can still be competitive when he wants to. He is also the winner of 12 seasonal high score competitions, with his first competition victory being Red Imp Kills on October 6th of 2013. In that same year, he was awarded with a Lifetime Achievement Award by Jagex at RuneFest 2013.
Part of RuneScape, as long as any one of us can remember, anyone who's been in the team, we keep asking, but it's the only name that keeps coming up. He's achieved hero status.
Lifetime achievement for playing RuneScape, guys. That is pretty awesome.
It's been quoted in books and articles, and is the player who's spent the longest in the #1 spot in our history. There's probably not a player in this room who doesn't really know who this is. He's RuneScape's most famous player ever, so by now I'm pretty sure you all know who I'm talking about. It's a great pleasure to announce for the first time ever the RuneScape Lifetime Achievement Award to my friend Peter Zezima.
Unfortunately, he can't be here. Guess what he's doing? Guess what he's doing? He's slaughtering Ziliana to compete on the high scores. You would have thought he'd get bored of high scores by now, but not Zez.
In fairly recent years, Zezima achieved 200 mil in every skill in RuneScape, including the archaeology skill, which released amidst the pandemic in 2020, bringing his total XP to 5.6 billion, and his overall rank as of this video at a little over 1,000. Despite this fall in ranking, Zezima is still the most famous player associated with RuneScape, and I don't see that ever changing. Thanks.
Even to this day, I hear people in my CC and around me talking about how great Zezima was. But anyways, everybody, if you guys want me to react to anything else RuneScape related, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys can go watch it for yourself. The link will be in the description. Also, guys, I am plugging my Kick channel. I go live almost every single day over there. So yeah, go check me out as well. With that being said, my name is Grim, and as always, I'll catch you guys next time.